walk through the valley of the shadow of hell, you will realize that there is something ahead. Something that lurks behind the dark veil. A veil that is beyond our own comprehension. Beyond the void.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void
Horror Podcast.
We are back for our Rutger Hauer episode, where we talk about...
Hauer, you mean Rutger Sauer?
Rutger Hauer? Yeah, we're going to be talking about Rutger Hauer and two movies that we picked that were in the horror genre that he was in. He did do a lot of action films and drama films in the middle of the 90s.
Well, we should say two 90s.
Yeah, 90s horror Rutger. So we're going to pick a couple of movies. Like I said, we picked Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and we also picked Split Second.
Yes.
And we wanted to kind of talk a little bit about Rutger Hauer. He's been a big part of a lot of movies since like 1969. He's Dutch, and he actually did not want to change his name to something more American sounding, because at the time he thought, well, I'm just going to act for a little bit. It's not a big deal. I don't really want to do it. Well, that didn't happen. But his name stuck, and it was very unique. So you have to give him credit. Like, he didn't have to change his name, and it is pretty unique. I mean, he has a lot of international reputation. He's done romantic leads, action heroes, villains. He was basically born in the Netherlands. He has been in a lot of underground films as well as big films. Mm-hmm. He's done a little bit of both. There are some movies that I have very fond memories of. Obviously, he was in the movie Blade Runner, which was probably his best role I think he's ever done. He also was in The Hitcher, which he actually did his own stunts for, driving the car because he's a huge car nut. And he was also in the movie Blind Fury, which was about him being blind and being some sort of...
furious person?
Well, I think his character was based off of another character in Japan where he was a blind samurai, but they tried to make him into an American character of some sort. And it's kind of a comedy, but the funny thing is he's actually colorblind. So he's a kind of
like
blind.
most men?
No, not most men.
Most men are colorblind.
Only men are colorblind.
Most men are colorblind.
Really?
I feel like they are.
I don't know about that.
Houses.
I know that the only people that can be colorblind are men. He was in the movie Wedlock, which was changed to Deadlock at the last second.
Also, if you're like me, as far as his career of films, your favorite movie of Rutger Hauer's is Hobo with a Shotgun.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, that's a great film of his.
It's one that needs to be mentioned at all points in time.
That was his, like, comeback film, I think.
It pretty much was. I mean, for 2011, it was essentially his comeback film because it had been something... First thing he'd done in a while. However, it's my favorite Rutger Hauer film.
Sure.
So.
No, I understand.
And I love Blade Runner. Don't get me wrong.
There was some movies I really wanted to talk about that were just in the 80s that weren't there. I couldn't do
we'll
it.
have to do an 80s month, so it's fine.
Maybe,
I'm
yeah.
okay with that.
Rutger Hauer 2.
I am totally okay with a follow-up on Rutger Hauer 2.0.
Right.
Which would be strictly 80s Rutger Hauer. I'm fine with that. I love 80s movies, so let's do it.
Well, he also did some of the movies called Crossworlds, which was kind of like a sci-fi movie. Turbulence 3, which is pretty much downhill after the first one, I think. He also was in a movie called Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, which was really cool. That's kind of a big budget film. He was in the movie called The Right with, what's his name from Silence of the Lambs?
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins, yeah. Which was about Anthony Hopkins being a priest. And there's some funny things that he says in that movie that I always kind of laugh at.
I feel like Rutger Hauer is just an actor that is in a lot of films that you don't realize he's in.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of those
Well, he's
people.
not a bit actor.
He's not necessarily a bit actor, but a lot of the characters he plays are smaller roles. Example, Sin City.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are huge Sin City fans, but they don't recall the fact that Rutger Hauer is in Sin City, which he is.
And Batman Begins.
Right. But that's a small part. Same with in Sin City. It's a smaller character. So he's definitely one of those actors that if you're not familiar with his film resume, he may be one of those people that surprises you where you go, oh, it's that guy. He may be one of those, oh, it's that guy.
And for a lot of you young bucks out there, or young lasses.
I'm still a young buck, so...
You may not know him as well as some of our old fucks. Did you know that, Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop? Mm-hmm. Before Peter Weller was cast, he was actually going to be...
They wanted Rutger Hauer to be RoboCop.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine that for a second? Like, how that would have been?
I totally can. I'm sorry. Like, I can, and I feel like it would have been great.
I don't know. I'm kind of, like...
But if you take... I can kind of see where you're coming from, or you'd be a little bit on the fence about it, because if I take, like, early Rutger Hauer films and... in comparison to RoboCop, I get a little bit skeptical about it. But Rutger Hauer, a little bit later in his acting career as RoboCop, could have worked.
Maybe.
Could have worked very well, I feel like. However, I think they made the right choice ultimately.
Well, when you say later, I mean, he started in 69,
no, he did. But I mean, like,
that was like almost 30
later
years.
90s, mid to late 2000s. Like, anything after probably like 98. For him was a little bit more serious, and he started to get, to me, it felt like he started to take on more serious roles and really prove his acting chops.
Well, it's weird because, like, if you look at his resume, it's like it's sprinkled.
Absolutely.
Like, he does like really big roles, and he does really
place.
cheese dick roles, and you're just like, wait, didn't you just act in this big ass movie?
He's absolutely all over the place.
He was really relevant enough that there was a movie called The Vampire Chronicles. There was an interview about it, and Rutger Hauer was Anne Rice's original vision for Lestat when the book was being written. So she envisioned him as a vampire, as this character.
Which, if you are even moderately well-versed in the character of Lestat and the story behind him, I feel like him as an actor makes sense.
Okay.
To play that role.
He's done a lot of vampire roles, which is really weird. So, and even the weirder thing is that it says here that like a lot of people thought Julian Sands was going to play the part. They said that was her first choice, but he did not even begin to show up in films and television until like 1982.
Right.
So there's no way that she would have even known about it. But Rutger's he's been acting since, well, technically 68.
Yeah.
Technically.
His first major role was in, 69?
He probably started even acting in 67, but I guess 68 is the number that they say. It's just interesting because not only did he almost get picked for that role, but he's also played Dracula in Dracula 3 Legacy from 2005. He and the arch nemesis of Dracula, Van Helsing, in Dracula 3D 2012, which was a Dario Argento film.
Shout out Dario Argento.
Right. But it says, ironically, Chrisman, who was the Dracula character in that movie, went on to play the role of Van Helsing on a television series called Dracula in 2013, a year after that. So it's kind of interesting, like all over the fucking map. He was even offered a role in the big movie called Das Boot, which was from 1981, and he turned it down. Obviously the best choice he could have ever made, because it's what sparked his whole fucking career. Blade Runner. He wanted to do Blade Runner, and it was a good choice. Yeah, very good choice. Which, by the way, guys, are you excited about the new movie coming up, by the way?
Yes.
I'm super stoked for it. I wonder if Rutger's going to be in it.
You know what? That would be great, and I really hope so.
I know he fell off the building and he died and all this other stuff, but spoiler alert.
Really dies in horror.
But he's a robot, so maybe someone like resurrected him. I would love to see him in the new one.
It'd be great.
They maybe not even show him, so who knows?
It would be great.
Other funny thing about vampires, by the way, that I forgot to mention is that he actually appeared in 2 different vampire movies with Donald Sutherland.
I love Donald Sutherland.
First, it was Buffy the Vampire Slayer in 1992, and then he was in the same movie with Donald Sutherland in Salem's Lot, the 2004 version. Because there was an older version as well called Salem's Lot, based off the Stephen King book as well, or story. So, but yeah, are you a fan of Rutger Hauer? What's some of your favorite movies? I personally love him in Blade Runner. I love the movie Deadlock. I did like Crossworlds, even though it's been a while since I've seen it. I liked him in Split Second here. Blind Fury is actually a really fucking fun hidden gem if you're into, like, blind guys with swords.
Well, who isn't?
In America.
I mean, even not in America. But, yeah, I mean, I'm a Rutger Hauer fan. I have been for a long time.
Yeah.
I think he's fantastic. Not only as an actor, but as a person. He's done a lot of very great humanitarianism acts.
Oh, he's an environmentalist.
He's a huge environmentalist. And he also actually established his own AIDS awareness organization. That's cool. Which a lot of people aren't aware of, but it's called Rutger Hauer Starfish Association. Huh. And it's something that, you know, I don't know. He's an incredible human, pretty much.
That's pretty cool that he's, like, putting forth that.
He does have his own autobiography that he published, actually, in April, I believe, of 2007. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he co-wrote it, obviously, as most autobiographies are co-written with somebody. But it's called All Those Moments, Stories of Heroes, Villains, Replicants, and Blade Runners, which was co-written with Patrick Quinlan.
Yeah, and I said robots. He's a replicant.
Replicant, yes. In which he actually discusses many of his movie roles, and proceeds from the book that he wrote actually went to the Rutger Hauer Starfish Association.
Really?
It's hard to say. Rutger Hauer Starfish Association, which, again, if you weren't listening before, is his AIDS Awareness Association.
Sweet.
So besides the fact that he is a great actor and has been involved since the late 60s to present day, he is also a humanitarian and environmentalist and somebody who has a very strong impact on the world that we currently live in.
Sure, he's not just out for himself.
Not at all. He's very much out for everybody else, and he's a great person.
That's pretty cool. I kind of would be interested in to read his book now.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely want to.
It'd be kind of cool, you know?
It would be. I'm sure it would be very fun.
Too bad we couldn't read it before we did this episode.
I actually want to pick it up. And also, side note, he is actually a Knight in the Order of the Netherlands Lion since 2013.
Really? They added him in?
Yeah, they did.
Well, he's a huge star in Netherlands.
I feel like most,
he's like one of the biggest actors that came out of there, so they're like, fuck yeah.
Yes, he is. So why would we not make him a fucking Knight? I mean, I would.
We will now knight you, Sir Blowjob.
Sir Blowjob.
Sorry, Rutger. I'm not trying to be a dick.
We love you. Alex is an asshole.
No, it's just kind of weird thinking about it in 2013. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, guys, I think what we should do now is jump into some of the Rutger Hauer movies we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And we'll go ahead and kick it off with our flesh and potato segment of 90s Rutger Hauer.
Right now.
All right, guys, we're back, and we're going to jump into one of the two Rutger Hauer movies we chose for this episode. Obviously, we can't choose everything, but we picked these two because they were closest aligned with the horror genre. First one up is Split Second from 1992. And the story goes, in 2008, London is suffering from the worst flooding in a decade. As the water levels rise, Harley Stone, a neurotic veteran cop who seeks revenge on the creature that killed his partner. As a new rookie is assigned to him, Stone must find the killer, rescue his girlfriend, and fight off his own inner demons as he gets closer and closer to the mysterious enemy. And they called it Creature, but quite honestly, in the beginning of the movie, you don't know anything about a creature. Mm-mm. You just know that there is a serial killer of some sort of killer of any sort that's going around killing people, and everything that it does is not very creature-oriented until they figure out that it is a creature by like some sort of mold from one of the bodies.
Mouth.
Yeah, they check the teeth.
It's actually the bite that it takes out of the heart.
Right.
From not the first, but the second victim.
Yeah, they do a mold.
And they do a mold of the mouth.
Right.
And then later on in the film, they compare it to the bite that's taken out of Kim Cattrall's shoulder. A lot of other things lead up to that fact, too, as far as how they how they discover and determine this character and this creature or this monster, whatever the fuck it's supposed to be.
Well, and Harley Stone, played by Rutger Hauer, is actually he's kind of like a psychic, and he has this connection to the creature because it scratched him.
Right.
But you don't really figure that out until about halfway through.
No.
Now, the director of this movie, Tony Maylam, born in England, he was he was the director of The Burning, which is a pretty popular slasher movie.
Oh shit.
There's that whole scene where the person's in the boat and their fingers get cut by the shears and their fingers go off in the boat. But it was kind of like a Jason movie.
Yeah.
In some sort of like a Friday the 13th sort of movie. But
yeah, and it's
but it
own
wasn't.
kind of way.
A lot of cult following for that movie. There's a lot of people that are lifelong fans of that movie.
Oh, yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, you might want to check it out. But also it was written and associate produced by Gary Scott Thompson, and this is going to blow your fucking mind.
I know, I'm ready. I'm so ready for this. Please blow my
Guys,
mind.
if you don't know who this guy is, Gary Scott Thompson, he is the writer for every single one of the Fast and the Furious movies. Like, what? Like, that kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, that guy, I didn't know his name at all. I had no idea.
Glorious.
But not only did he do the entire franchise for Fast and Furious, which has obviously made him tons of money.
A ton of money.
He also was a part of a couple other franchises. He did Hollow Man 1 and 2. He did the second Time Cop movie, which is really bad. Yeah. I haven't seen it in a while.
Understatement,
Yeah.
Alex.
The first one was actually okay. That was the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, which I do like.
The first one's not terrible.
No, I didn't mind that one, but I haven't seen the second one in a long time, and there's probably been a reason.
Oh, it's real bad. It's real bad. That's why.
Another slight franchise that he was a part of was with Belushi, which was the K-9 movies. He did K-9, which was the first movie about a cop, Belushi playing. Is it Jim Belushi, right?
Jim Belushi.
Yeah, and his dog, you know. And then he did
something with a cop.
The second one was called K911, which was a straight-to-video movie. I don't think it did real well.
As a lot of 90s films are.
Right. Obviously, the cast is Rutger Hauer. We already told you all about him. Kim Cattrall is in this movie.
Samantha from Sex in the City.
Right. Or
AKA?
is it Sex... What did you call it?
Sex in the City?
Nope.
It's Sex in the City.
It's Sex and the City.
Fuck off. I don't give a fuck. It's Sex in the City.
Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Ready?
Mandela Effect.
Fuck off. Like, Mouse has been on my ass about this shit all the time, and I still swear to fucking Christ. There's a goddamn movie with what's his nuts in it with the fucking the genie movie.
That's not a real
Kazam!
prevalent. That's not a real prevalent. The Sex in the City and Sex and the City, whatever it is.
It's not as
now I can't even
prevalent
remember
as far as all the other Mandela effect shenanigans.
No, because that's
whatever.
one that you could go Sex and the City. Like
Everybody
anybody
is
could have
Sex-
heard that wrong.
I'm pretty sure it's actually Sex and the City, but I know it is Sex in the City. That makes more sense to me than Sex
I don't remember
and
now.
The City, but it doesn't matter.
I think I wrote it down
I
as
don't
Sex in
care.
the City.
I love the show. I love the movies. They existed. Kim Cattrall is Samantha, the slutty one.
Yeah.
And she's a hot ass fucking dark haired
Yeah.
vixen.
She's not lost
And
her
she's a
look
badass.
too much either.
She's a badass.
Yeah. She was
Absolute
also
badass.
she was actually in Big Trouble in Little China, one of my favorite movies
She's
by
in a
John
lot
Carpenter.
Of movies.
That had fucking it was just a crazy to me that movie is amazing. I love that movie. It was like
We should do that actually. Sometime.
oh yeah, I haven't.
Should
I don't
be
think
really
we've done
fun.
it.
We haven't.
I don't think I have.
It would be fun.
She was
For,
also
like a John Carpenter. Like, I feel like
Sure.
we could do a whole month dedicated to John Carpenter.
She was also in the movie Porky's, Police Academy,
Yep.
and Mannequin. Was she in part 2?
Was she what in part 2?
I don't think she was in part 2.
Mannequin.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
But the funny thing is, one of the girls from the next movie we're going to be talking about, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Christy Swanson,
Oh yeah.
the main
girl.
actor,
Right.
she was in Mannequin 2. Mm-hmm. Which Rutger Hauer is in both of these movies. Coincidence? Woo! Also, Alistair Duncan, who is the sidekick / buddy cop.
Alistair Neil Duncan. Which I think
Is
he
that
goes
what it
by
is?
Neil
Why?
Duncan, actually, technically.
He was in this
Whatever.
movie. This is probably his biggest role, I think. He did a lot of TV shows, a lot of bit parts. He was in Buffy, the Vampire Slayer TV show.
He's
Buffy
been
the
in,
Vampire
like,
Slayer.
Everything.
Yeah, he really has been in a lot of stuff. He was in the movie The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the remake, and lots of video game voiceover work that he's done.
Ton of video game voiceover, a ton of bit character pieces in television shows and very popular television shows.
Sure.
Absolutely. I mean, if you actually look up his body of work,
yeah, it's a lot.
you're going to go, holy fuck, and then you're going to realize that's why I know this guy. And that's exactly what I did. After I watched this film and I went back and said, his face, he's that guy.
Yeah, you kept saying that he was in something, but yeah, I mean, maybe
he's in literally like a million things I've seen.
He's never been in really major starring roles, but
small bit characters, but it doesn't matter. Like,
sure,
they're still bit characters that mean something.
Spitting on him for that. He's getting it done. Also, one of the characters that wasn't a really big part in it, he played the rat, the sewer
rat catcher.
The rat catcher, yeah, was Michael J. Pollard, who was in the movie Scrooged. He was the guy with the watch, and he was like, "Can you help pay my heating bill?" That's probably my biggest movie that I loved him in. He was also in American Gothic, Dark Angel as Boner. Also, he did the voice of Psycho in the Toxic Crusaders for the cartoon for fucking Trauma.
Yes.
Which is pretty awesome, too. Like, if you guys ever watch that, shout out.
I feel like we need to do a Trauma month.
I want to.
I would die.
I really do want to do that.
Please do that. If you guys want us to do a Trauma month, chime in, let us know.
Maybe not this next one.
Not this next one, but I mean in one of the following months.
Yeah, a month or two, maybe 3 months.
Let us know, because I'm totally down to do a Trauma month, and I'm pretty sure Alex is too, and I don't think we're really going to care whether you chime in or not. We're probably going to do it anyway, but Trauma films are fantastic.
Well, so what do you think of this movie, though?
I really enjoyed it. This was probably my favorite.
Of the three?
Of the three. And I will tell you why, because aesthetically this film is absolutely stunning. It was a very slow movie to me, as far as it took a good solid probably 20 minutes to really build up to the story.
Kick off.
However, it took at least a solid about 7 to 10 minutes to really get into even any dialogue in the beginning of the film.
Yeah, it takes like 5 minutes.
It does. It's a solid time frame. However, it's like I said.
But at least they incorporated the credits into the.
They did. But yeah, I mean, it was a little bit slow. And I felt at times it's a little bit long. And it wasn't necessarily hard to follow, but it had parts where it was a little bit dull. Okay. It was still a great story. It was a very different plot concept than a lot of films, especially in its time. They tried to do something completely different. They tried to do something original.
Was different.
And they succeeded in that. It was absolutely an original idea. And it was...
Well, I don't want to say 100%.
Not 100% original.
I was going to say, like, let's not suck its dick too hard.
Right, but you could see where there's little bits and pieces that are obviously ripped from other films.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of borrowing going on.
A lot.
And it took place in England, guys, which is different,
however,
for its time.
It's still really fun. It's still a fun film, and it's great concept, great idea behind it. The acting is essentially pretty terrible. Kim Cattrall is great.
Yeah, she is really good.
And the actor that played who ended up being his new partner.
The new partner, yeah.
Neil, I'm going to forget his last name.
Alistair Neil Duncan.
Neil Duncan is also fantastic. And Rutger Hauer actually is the one, to me, that falls short in this film as far as acting goes.
It's not his best role.
It's not. And I feel like a lot of that is partly due to how his lines were written for him. And a lot of it all boils down to dialogue. However, his delivery a lot of times fell very short. It's not my favorite Rutger Hauer film in any way, shape, or form. Okay. But it is still good, and it's still very him. It's still very dirty. It's still very raw. It's still very hard.
It felt like he was a little typecasted.
Absolutely. He absolutely was. And that's kind of how I felt about it. I felt like they wrote this role specifically kind of for him. Yeah. And they said, these are your lines, and these are how we want you to deliver them. Don't you fucking dare.
You think?
Like, move around.
I wouldn't know, but
like that. That's a little bit how it felt to me. It doesn't mean that's how it was, but to me, that's how it felt. He felt a little forced, and he didn't feel like he had freedom to really express himself in the character. But that's how I felt about it. He felt a little stifled. Probably my favorite thing I've ever seen Kim Cattrall in.
Really?
Yeah, and I love her as Samantha.
Wait, your favorite thing?
I
I
love
thought she
her
was
in
kick
it.
ass in Big Trouble in Little China.
Right, okay.
She's pretty badass in that.
She is.
I love her character.
She is. But I really do love her in this film. I thought
She's
to
kind of
me,
a sex pot, at
she
this
is a
time.
fucking sex pot in
Yeah.
this, and it's great. And that to me, she stole the movie
Yeah.
from everybody else. She stole this fucking film from all the other actors and actresses involved. This was her kind of time to really prove herself.
Sure.
And she did a great job. And I love films that are very strong female leads.
Yeah.
And she's a strong female lead. Like, she's kind of a bitch at the beginning, but she ends up coming into her own and, like, really, being a sidekick or even a secondary hero.
Oh, she owns up to her role.
She's great.
She's like, I can take care of this. She
No, she's
shows
like,
a couple
"Fuck yeah, I
points in
got
there.
this
She's
shit."
like, I got it.
No, she's
I'm not the
good.
helpless little girl you think I am.
Exactly. And I love that. And I kind of love that our last couple weeks have kind of had this little side rolling theme of strong female characters. 'Cause it's pretty great.
Well, and it's funny. I forgot to mention this, by the way, guys. There was this movie had a $7 million budget. That's pretty fucking hefty for this movie. And
Yes.
it at the box office, it only did 5.4 million overall. So it was technically a box
Technically.
office failure.
Right.
If it's lower than
However-
the number, technically they call it the producers and all the people that put the money down consider it a failure if it doesn't even make double.
Right.
Like even when it makes double, they're still kind of like, yeah, should we do another one? Let's do it. We'll give you half the budget. See if you could do something with it. Squeeze a couple of dollars out of it. But they never made a sequel. So I mean, and it makes sense. My personal thoughts on this, and I have a few things. I don't think it's the best movie, especially that he's done.
No.
But it did do a lot of different things, I think. It did borrow a lot, but it did do different things that I've never seen or expected from this type of movie. And Rutger Hauer plays the smart-ass loner psychic cop who kind of lost his partner, which it's kind of a typical trope. Not original in that sense. It's kind of a buddy cop setup for a lot of movies. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I lost my partner before, and I'm not going to lose another one. I'm going to be tough as shit to you until you fucking win me over, and then I love you, and then we work together and win. Blah blah blah. But I don't know. I feel like Rutger Hauer kind of somewhat in this movie, I don't know why, but he just looks older. In this film, and a little bit more run down than in his other movies. Like,
I feel like they're trying to portray him that way, though.
Sure.
The character he's supposed to be playing, like, he's been through some shit. He's seen some shit. He's
grimy.
His character specifically survives on coffee, chocolate, and anxiety.
right? Yeah, he eats those donuts.
So he has just bags and bags and bags full of straight
Ray Rays.
chocolate.
Yeah, it's called Ray Rays,
chocolate.
right?
Yes, and I believe you're correct, but
Yeah.
it's just straight chocolate. And he drinks coffee with primarily sugar and a shot of coffee. And anxiety. He's riddled with fucking anxiety, and it's mostly because of the fact that he still regrets the loss of his partner, his original partner.
That, and he also has some weird psychic link to the creature because
He
the
does,
creature
'cause of the
scratched
scratch
him.
marks
Yeah, he's
for
got
him.
PTSD.
Absolutely. And
He's almost like a drug addict, but with coffee, chocolate.
coffee and chocolate, not actual
Yeah.
drugs. Right, those are his drugs, are caffeine and sugar. I kind of agree with that, as he looks a lot older in this film than he does in a lot of his other works.
Yeah.
Especially works that came out later
Right.
than this movie, but I feel like that's intentional.
It's so weird to me, though, still. Like, I mean, I think I like this movie. I like some of the aesthetics in it and everything like that, but knowing that they had a $7 million budget kind of blows me away.
When you see that, it actually disappoints you. a
Yeah,
bit
it
because-
does. Compared to the other films that I look at the budgets of, and especially,
Well, let's
and the
use-
magic that I think of it first off the top is the Hardware movie.
That's what I was going to say. Let's use
It's like,
comparison for Hardware.
God damn, that guy did that movie on $1.5 million budget. It looks so beautiful, stylish, everything that he did, and I guess that was just the skill,
And we talked about this a bit last time,
Right.
as far as like a $1.5 million budget in comparison to a $5.2 million budget
Right.
that class of 1999 was.
Yeah.
And then you look at this movie, Split Second was a $7 million budget, more than any of the two.
And it
you
looked like less of a budget.
It looked like less than both of those films.
Yeah, it really did.
And it came out, what, 2 to 3 years later?
Yeah.
So where
2 years, yeah.
where did the money go?
I don't know.
I feel like it went to the actors.
Well, you typically don't see fucking movies that take place in England, first of
No.
all. So that was like a weird choice, and a lot of like producers and shit like that will choose a different location because, you know, your meat and potatoes from fucking money is usually fucking US.
Right.
Because people can relate to that.
Quote unquote.
But they did it in England. I don't know why it costs so much money, but it is, like you said, it is a little disappointing. However, I will say that the creature does look pretty cool. And for fuck's sake, what creature have you seen that shoots fucking guns, first of all?
Yeah, it's
That's
smart.
pretty badass.
And I feel like the creature is mostly human. And they hint to that a little bit when they're explaining the fact that they discover that it has little bits of DNA from all of its victims.
Right, which
So
is alien. Totally alien.
This character, absolutely.
It looks
How-
like the alien
It looks like
creature.
the fucking alien, and it drove me fucking crazy.
Right, but it's part rat.
It's part, to me, it looks like it's this rat character, like this a rat that technically bit someone and evolved from that point up.
Right.
And that's, to me, how I depict it.
And you know what's funny now that I think of it, because this is such a global, this is all based on global warming, guys.
Absolutely.
So global warming is taken over because of pollution and everything like that, which is, okay, this is in 92, and today even we're dealing with like global warming, whether you believe it or not.
It's a fucking thing.
And he's a big, big environmentalist, so you can see that this movie would appeal to him.
Right.
That's probably why he bought on to this movie.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because he felt like it was going to have some sort of
Impact at some
socio-political, environmental impact.
Right, and
Because
I
it's
don't know.
the creature is essentially made from all the smog and all the like pollution and all the like chemicals, and I guess like it was a little confusing to me.
The creature's a total rip-off fucking alien.
It
though.
is, and it has a mask. It has a visor over its eyes. You know what it reminds me of? Judge Dredd.
Yes.
Do you know like fucking
Yes.
Death?
Yes.
Like fucking Death?
Yes.
Who does the Judge Dredd as well, and
Thank
it's
you.
like the visor over his head.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one that thinks that. Okay.
But you don't even see the creature until like more than half of like
almost the end.
yeah, it's like 2/3
You
into the
don't
movie
get
at
a
least.
full feel of the creature until the final 30 minutes of the film.
Right.
And then when they do the close-ups of the creature, it is a straight mouth focus, and it is a full-on rip-off of Alien.
It doesn't have the lip quivery thing.
It doesn't.
It doesn't have
And
the tongue
it's not
thing.
as creepy, and
Right.
it's not as sexually creepy. I don't know. I fucking love Alien. So it's just, that's a beautiful fucking portrayal
There
of
was-
a monster.
The whole movie though, I
But-
felt like it wasn't even a creature at all.
It feels so human.
Right.
And how
I
they're
think that was
how
intentional,
they're
but-
trying to pick apart its psyche,
Right.
and all the little bits of him saying that he didn't think it was a psychotic, he didn't think it was a psychotic, he thought it was a psycho or whatever, his little
Right.
psychiatric review or dictation of the monster.
Oh, what
and
is it called? The FBI, what do you call it?
profiling.
Profiling, yeah.
Right. And it's very interesting.
And I think that kind of takes away from the movie
it does.
as a creature feature.
It's distracting.
But it's almost topical because this movie feels more like a buddy comedy wrapped in a supernatural,
Oh yeah.
alien, environmental horror sort of movie.
Right.
It feels like, and I'm not trying to put this down. I know some of you guys out there are like huge fans of this movie. I have a couple of friends that just will not stop talking about this movie. Chris, if you're listening, I know.
Hi, Chris.
He's my buddy from back in Maryland. He always loved this movie. I do like it, though. I don't hate it, but I don't know. It's hard to explain, and I know these are not great Rutger Hauer movies necessarily, but I still appreciate Rutger Hauer, so I wanted to give him a shout out because I remember him from the 90s. But as far as this movie goes, like, I don't know. There's good and there's bad in there.
This is one of his worst.
I
in my
honestly- I
opinion,
don't think it's-
his acting.
Maybe, but in the same regard, he's the only thing that makes this movie worthwhile, in my opinion.
Okay.
Him and Kim Cattrall. Those two are in together. I do like the buddy cop thing that he's got going on with his Alistair Neil Duncan that he has his partner with. I liked how he was a dick to him the whole time. And then they soon became friends. Like, I thought that buddy cop thing, I lost my partner buddy cop thing was pretty cool. It's pretty typical, but I thought they worked good together.
Overall, it was still a fun film.
Yeah.
You know, you can't take that away.
There were some stupid choices they made.
There were a lot of stupid.
Yeah, there was some
made.
parts where it was like too long. It didn't really need to be there. A lot of like the love interest wasn't really there.
Okay, I'm sorry, but where I got really fucking pissed off and really lost is at the end where they're trying to.
Well, don't say that.
Okay,
Yeah, we say that to the very end. Yeah, the end is for the end.
Man.
I have a couple of favorite scenes. I let you go first last time, so I want to talk about it. Favorite scenes is probably within the first 6 minutes of the film.
He walks say what my favorite scene
hey,
is.
Man, you got to go first.
Fuck
last
you,
time.
Alex. I did say your favorite scene last time first, so go ahead.
So Rutger Hauer he's like in this car. He's like, it looks like he's getting prepared for something. He takes this long ride to the city, and then he gets out of the car and he walks down this alleyway, and all these people are walking past him, and he's just being Rutger Hauer badass, and he's wearing his trench coat, and he's walking along, and all of a sudden this little dog darts out of a hole on the side of the wall.
Little dog. It's a
Rottweiler.
Rottweiler.
Yeah,
it's not a little dog.
And it jumps out and it starts barking at him, and he just throws the badge in the dog's face, and he's like, "Police, dickhead."
That's my favorite scene too.
And by the way, of all the movies I've seen badges in, this is the worst fucking badge I've ever seen in a fucking movie. It literally looked like they just printed it on a leather fucking wallet. Like the worst. Like every badge I've seen in any movie, especially a sci-fi fucking horror movie.
Not even Photoshop bad. It's like straight up fucking paint.
Yeah.
Bad.
I was like, dude, what the fuck? I didn't even know what he was throwing. I was like, is that a kid's badge? Like, what are you throwing at him? Would they run out of metal? Like, I don't understand.
They ran out.
They must have run out of budget, but they had 7 million.
Did.
What the fuck?
That's 7 million, and then when they came to the badges, they're like, "Fuck, we're out of."
I know that's a really stupid thing to be irritated about, but it really did bother me.
It's not.
Yeah, every time he flashed it, though, it was like it had no impact.
Not at all.
That should, like, if he had that flashing badge, like, it would have been so much. It just had that little extra. I don't know.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
And the funny thing I do like about his banter, because this isn't the first time he runs into the dog. He actually runs into the dog like 3 times. And he talks to the dog better than any of the humans around him.
He does.
So, and that's kind of, I love that. I love that element that they put in there. That's just the, I don't know, the camaraderie that he has with the dog is, and it's so much more genuine than he is to human beings, because he just doesn't want to get close to anybody anymore because he lost one of the closest things to him. And that's like Rutger Hauer's character in this movie, Harley Stone.
Harley Stone, they make a fucking crap
That's a
joke
bad
about
name
it
too.
later in the film, because when they discover the fucking Harley Davidson motorcycle, and then I think it's his partner or whatever
It's
that
his cop
like
bike.
blows his fucking load all over the fact that his actual name is Harley.
Right.
And I'm like, why is that a thing? Why is that even important? Like, why'd you just jizz all over the fact that his name is fucking Harley? I'm not understanding, but whatever.
Do you have another good or bad moment that you can think of? I can think of one.
Can you?
Yeah.
The whole movie is just a giant blur for me.
Well, this creature keeps going around killing off different people, and he keeps like every time he's like hunting it, he has this link and he kind of knows where this creature is going to be, and everybody's like, how the fuck do you always know where he's going to be? And they almost kind of like point the blame at him, but not really. And then there was a part where like it was like linked to his girlfriend. Like this girl that wasn't it the wife of his cop partner?
No, okay, so
that's where I got confused.
Yes, so her character, Kim Cattrall's character, is actually, she was the wife of his former partner. Right. The partner that was killed by the creature.
And they both loved him so much they became close.
After the partner died, they ended up having an affair with each other, and so. That's
not really an affair.
It's technically not an affair.
He's dead.
But, right. But they do write it off as an affair between the two of them.
Sure.
So who knows? Maybe it started
Taboo.
prior to his death or whatever. Maybe that's why he feels extra guilty about it, because they started fucking prior to he actually died. Who
Okay.
knows? That could make more sense.
That's why they
he
haven't, like,
feels
hooked
more
up.
guilt
Right.
behind it. But they fucking hook up. Like they hook up still.
Yeah.
Like they love each other. They're gonna fuck each other. They may not love each other, but they're gonna fuck. So
And
whatever.
you know what's funny? I do like when she first comes over to his place, because she runs into him somewhere. I can't remember where, but she runs into him. She comes over to his place, and his place is a fucking wreck.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it looks like a machine shop with dirty fucking chocolate donut
It is
bags
a machine
everywhere.
shop with dirty chocolate bags.
Yeah,
all
it's
over.
like really bad, and he doesn't give a fuck. And she's like totally cool with it.
Yeah.
She's just like, whatever. I'm gonna sleep here. I'm gonna. Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
He falls asleep. She lets him stay asleep, and then she just kind of sleeps next to
Well,
him.
and back to the thing that the creature attaches onto her and starts targeting her.
She's bait.
And then all of a sudden he decides to leave
her.
Like, after he finds out that the fucking creature is now attached to getting her, he leaves? Like, what the
I can't
fuck?
with that shit.
Well, it did kind of throw him off the scent a little bit, although didn't he go to the police station or some dumb shit?
Oh, it was stupid. Like, it was just.
I was like, dude, why would you just leave her? And then all of a sudden she's being like attacked. Doesn't she get scratched? She gets bit.
She gets bit on the shoulder blade.
He makes it back to his house where she's at in time.
She got bit in the
And then she
shower.
goes to take a shower and the creature somehow got in there, which makes no fucking sense. It bites her.
It makes sense to me.
And now they both have the connection to the
Me,
creature.
I don't know how she wasn't dead.
What, right. Why would it just
Because
bite her?
If I was that creature, I would go and kill her fucking bitch ass in the shower. That's my ultimate revenge on this
Right.
motherfucker.
That's what I'm saying.
So all he does though is like bite her in the shoulder, and then that's it.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, there's so many like disconnected points
Yeah.
in this film, which was my ultimate takeaway of issues that I had. However, it was still fun to watch. I mean, a little slow, a little
there was
boring
tidbits here
at a
and
lot
there.
of points, but it's still a great film to watch. I recommend it. It's not a film that I'm going to say don't waste your fucking time. It's
better than Seed People.
It's way fucking better than Seed People. Because Seed People, I as you guys know, I had nothing to fucking say.
It's probably
about
like a
it.
6.
To me, Seed People's like a 2.
No, I'm talking about this one though.
Split second, I would give a solid 6.5.
Maybe, yeah, 6 seems about right.
The story's great.
It's a movie I want to
a great
own, and I wish they
idea.
would bring it to a fucking America, but it's only in German.
It's a great
Like, you can only
idea.
get a German Blu-ray of it.
Right. The acting is subpar as far as the main actor, Rutger Hauer. This is one of his worst films as far as acting goes.
Didn't flow well.
Not at all.
But he's funny in
Kim
it.
Cattrall, however, if you're a fan of Sex and the City, she's great.
Yeah.
Everybody else in this film is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually the worst of all of the actors in this movie.
Well, I have a couple other
Give it a
scenes
go.
before we close it up.
Please go.
Yeah, there's one of the scenes I did really like in this movie, and this is something we're getting into spoiler territory, guys. So you might want to,
So earmuffs.
if you don't wanna hear
wanna
about
be
it.
ruined.
but we're not exactly ruining the best movie we've ever
It's
seen.
not the best movie you've ever seen.
But there is a moment where he's hunting this creature and they finally get a beat on it and they get these fucking kick-ass fucking 16 rounds per second shotguns that look like fucking howitzers, like, that spin and like shoot and just destroy everything. That shit's badass. But there's a part where him, his partner, and Kim Cattrall are all like hunting for this creature at this point. And it's hiding from them, and he finds it in a train car, and all of a sudden this hand comes down over his face and pulls his glasses
That's my
off.
favorite scene.
And then I thought shit was about to get freaky
No,
because it
that's-
was kind of sexual.
It
I'll
was
be
very
honest.
sexual. That's my favorite scene because the intimacy that's involved with it.
It really is.
It's very intimate and it's very.
It's toying with him.
It really shows this connection that they're trying to portray the entire film between him and this beast.
Killer.
Killer,
See, again,
whatever.
it's a creature, but
It's a
it treats it.
creature-
It's almost like it's a serial killer.
It's a human.
The way it acts.
To me, it's a human. It feels
Right.
like it's a human. It's portrayed essentially as a human.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you point that out because I love that little, and it's about 30 seconds of just pure gold. But it literally is just
and he's freaked the fuck out.
Oh, he's scared. And that's his best acting in the entire film.
Yeah, and then he has
that
like a
30-second moment.
He has like a fight with the creature in this train car.
It's great.
And then there's a hole in the roof, and his buddy throws like a fucking, what is it called? A flash grenade? Mm-hmm. Like a huge one. Throws it in the car, and they both all jump. Like Rutger Hauer's like, "Oh, I'm just in time," and he jumps out a window all stupid. And then they all run into a tunnel, and it's not dead yet. It doesn't even scream. That's the other weird thing.
Right.
Like, you never hear the creature make any noise whatsoever. It doesn't. It's like, I don't know. It's just like silent
Right.
the whole fucking time.
It just breathes like a human.
Right. And then they try to electrocute it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of stupid
Watch
and
this.
silly. It's like this whole scene was way too long for the electrocution. It was like, what else can we do to it, guys? Let's just throw this in there.
Yeah.
And then he faces the creature, and the creature doesn't want to kill him almost. And it's like it could kill him instantly. But instead, he punches it in the chest.
Removes it. Oh,
Yeah.
should we keep... And I feel like...
Fuck
we
it,
should
man.
stop.
We're
Okay,
all
okay.
already in.
So he punches it in the chest and removes its heart, which the entire story plot is that this creature breaks through the chest cavity of its victims and removes
Eats its
its
heart.
heart and eats it or has it as an appetizer. So that's how essentially this ends, is he ends up face to face with the creature. He busts through its chest, removes its heart.
The creature
And
falls.
the creature kind of lays back and falls, and his friends blow it up with their fucking
16
automatic
round per
weapons.
second. Yeah, shotgun. Automatic
and then
shotgun.
all of a sudden, he takes his big fucking, like,
Cannon, he calls it.
basically, cannon, and puts it to the heart and says, "Sweet dreams." And
Bang.
just wastes it. And, I mean, the ending sequence is pretty great, but I felt like it was a little bit lackluster.
It really didn't land right.
Not at all.
It was like they were like up on the bar doing some pretty cool spins for a little bit. Wasn't perfect. And then they flipped through the air, smacked the fucking beam on the roof, and then hit their head on the way.
Yeah, I don't know. There was so many more cool things they could have done with it, and I felt like that the end, like, I understand what they were trying to do.
See, and I think they were, like, I got to give them credit for trying to do something different because they were trying to make a creature very human, I
Right.
think. And then, which sounds good on paper, but when you see this creature, you're like, dude, this thing should have been shrieking. It's almost like it was just toying with him the whole time. It wasn't like trying to, I don't know, it just wasn't very scary. There was no scare.
Not scary at all.
No,
Nothing about
none.
it is scary.
Like, it just was like, oh, hey, what's up, Hank? Hey, Hank.
guys.
You out killing again? All right. Yeah, I'm going to go have a drink of water. I'll see you later. Later, Hank.
Give
Yeah.
us your thoughts. Let us know what you think.
This is a cult movie, guys. So there
Absolutely
are
is.
people that really love this film, and I totally understand why they do. It is kind of a hidden gem that a lot of people have forgotten about, and I think it's only available on VHS if you can find it, but there is literally like 7 streams on YouTube if you guys want to check it out.
It's on YouTube. Very great
I don't
quality.
feel bad telling anybody that because honestly, it's a very hard movie to get.
Go catch it while you can.
But there is a German Blu-ray of it if you really want to get it. So I think it's about that time that we move on to the next movie, our final movie.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Boom, in your
The
face,
movie.
sucker.
Yeah, they made a movie about it.
What year did it come out, Brittany?
It came out in 1992.
Okay.
Let me give you a pretty fairly brief synopsis.
Okay.
In 1992 Los Angeles, the new vampire slayer is cheerleader Buffy. 3 bodies have been found with really gross hickeys on their necks. It takes Merrick the Watcher some time, but he finally convinces Buffy that she is indeed the chosen one. When Merrick is killed by the Master Lothos and Buffy links up with Nerdy Pike, she realizes how serious the vampire business really is. Things come to a head when vampires crash the senior prom. And there you go. It's really hard for me to do a Valley Girl thing, so I tried my best on that.
No, you're good. You're good.
But yeah, this fucking movie. I can't.
It was directed, by the way, guys, by Fran Rubel Kuzoy. I think I'm saying that name correctly. But this is the director who pretty much turned into the producer for all the Buffy the Vampire TV shows. Also did a movie called Tokyo Pop as a director. Also did mostly a producer. Actually, they even produced the movie Orgasmo by the South Park guys. It was also written, obviously, by Joss Whedon. And Joss Whedon, if you aren't familiar with him, then you probably don't even know what superheroes are, because he is pretty much the guy
Master
that everybody goes to for Marvel. And he's done a lot of the Marvel Universe writing. He became very popular after Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show. Interesting story about him and this movie in particular. He doesn't like it. He hates it. Like, Joss Whedon's like, fuck this movie. I don't consider it canon, part of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show, whatsoever. I don't want anything to do with it, other than because he had a lot of issues, because everybody kept changing the movie. He wanted to make a dark horror sort of big-time movie, and they turned it into kind of a slapstick, funny spoof.
Right.
Whether you like it or not... It did do very, very fucking well. So
it's insane to see.
And it's still a very big movie for a lot of people in the 90s.
Yet a lot of people don't know it's actually a movie.
Right. The movie actually had a budget of $7 million. You were right.
Yay me.
And it made $16.6 million.
God, sorry.
Right. And to give you guys kind of an idea of the cast, by the way, we're just going to shoot through some of these because there is literally too many fucking
everybody
actors.
has a goddamn cameo in this movie.
This movie was like, hey, everybody, let's go just have an orgy. And they were like, cool, let's do whatever we can. Now, the funny thing is that this movie, like, kind of fell together and fell apart while they were doing it.
So it's a hot fucking mess.
It's up and down, and, like, all the actors didn't get along. Luke Perry was an egotistical asshole. Donald Sutherland was, like, impossible to work with the director.
Yeah, absolutely. And his comments about Donald Sutherland are actually hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Joss Whedon's points on
Sure.
Donald Sutherland were interesting.
Well, let's go through some of the cast here. We got Christy Swanson, who was in Mannequin 2. She was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Mm-hmm. She was in Dude, Where's My Car? A pretty big list of different movies that she's been in. Donald Sutherland, who was in numerous movies that I can't even...
Most recently, you'll know him from the... oh my god. I'm going to forget the name of the series. It's going to kill me. Hunger Games. He's most recently in the Hunger Games
He's
series.
the good guy that's on the...
He's not a good guy. He's the bad guy.
Well, you think he's the good guy in the first one.
Yeah, you kind of think that, but no, he's Snow. He's the bad guy.
Right. But he also was in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 80s remake.
I love Donald Sutherland. So.
Paul Rubens, otherwise known as Pee Wee Herman, plays the vampire assistant. To put it nicely, would you call it?
I call him a vamp queer.
Obviously, Rutger Hauer plays the king fucking vampire named Lothos. Luke Perry plays Pike, who is the outcast kind of guy who somehow mingles with Buffy, the head girl. Michelle Abrams is in this movie. She's been actually in a lot of different other stuff. She was in Junior, Cool World. She was the roommate of the girl
Jenny,
in Cool World.
Right?
Huh?
Jenny in this film. She's Jenny.
Jennifer, yeah.
Yeah.
Hilary Swank's first movie.
First movie ever, which
Right.
is insane to me. This is her first film.
Kind of a big deal for her.
We also had, let's see.
David Arquette. Yeah, he was a baby in this. He looked like fucking Trent Reznor in this, by the way.
We also had Sasha Jensen, which was in Dazed and Confused.
Right. He was like the paddle guy. Well, he was friends with the paddle guy.
He was one of the stoners.
They even made a joke in this movie about it.
Did.
Yeah.
He totally did.
What did he say? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Or what did he say? Bye-bye or something like that.
No, I totally.
But they made a joke from that movie.
It was glorious. And also Stephen Root.
Oh, fuck yeah. I love Stephen Root, dude. He was in Get Out.
The stapler.
Yeah.
Guy
stapler.
Have you seen my stapler?
He was in Office Space. Dodgeball. He does voiceover work in fucking King of the Hill.
He's in so much shit. It's absolutely insane.
I love him.
He's so great. And he's one of those people that plays very, like, he has cameo roles. And he's always good. And I love this. Like, detention, 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 Is that it?
Do you want to know who else was in this movie that I didn't know about?
Who?
Thomas Jane.
What?
Who played the Punisher?
Right.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is he?
And he was also in The Mist.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Who did he play?
He played Tom James. I don't know. That's what I'm like, what?
Seth Green's also in this.
For a minute. Did you see the back of his head?
Even though he claims that he was cut from this film, he is still in it for 3 solid seconds. You see the back of his little red head.
Which is
He's
my
one of the
favorite
vampires.
part of
Oh,
him.
yeah. My favorite role of Seth Green.
Just kidding. And I'm just going to name off one more, and probably one that nobody even thinks about, but he's in it for literally like 3 to 5 seconds. You're never going to believe this. Ben Affleck.
He is.
Yeah.
He absolutely is, and I love that. Like,
Yeah, he was in. He was the basketball player when fucking what's his name goes
the
up.
opposing team basketball player.
Oh, he says
he gives the ball to him.
Right, and you know who?
Dazed
remember
and
when?
Confused guy.
Yeah, the Dazed and Confused guy, which is Sasha Jensen. He says, "Aha." He said that in the fucking Dazed and Confused movie. That's why I was like, "What the fuck?"
That's the ode to Dazed and Confused that they give. Yeah, no, that's a very, very, very young Ben Affleck, and I caught that, and I like smacked Mouse on the fucking arm, and he's just like, "That's not Ben Affleck. That's fucking Ben Affleck."
It is. He was 19 years old, dude.
He's so young.
Fucking young.
Baby, just a wee baby.
But so what do you think of this movie? Well, actually, let me tell my thoughts. You've been going the past 2 times, so let me jump in and throw my little 2 pence in.
I have not been going the last.
Yes, you have. You've been going first every time.
Oh, you're right. I probably have.
You did
Well,
Seed
ladies
People,
first,
and you
so
did this last one.
Continue.
But yeah, one of the things I thought about this movie is it's like there was all this little like nostalgia thrown in. As much as I think of this movie as like, oh god, a Valley Girl movie or something, or because Valley Girl was like big in the 80s and 90s, like it carried into the 90s. But this movie is like very pop culture. It is very poppy. Whether Joss Whedon likes it or not, I still think that this is an epitome 90s movie.
Absolutely.
Like, it is one of the biggest budget 90s epitome movies that you can think of, like one of. There's many. It's very lightly horror. It's more of like a horror comedy or comedy horror. After rewatching it again, I laughed quite a bit, and I actually enjoyed quite a bit of this movie. And I'm not like a huge Joss Whedon hand jobber or anything like that. Like I think he's really good at what he does. But I still like this movie, and it's obviously it had to do with his idea. So he was the original idea writer of it, but they turned it into a comedy. I don't think that that's a horrible thing. I personally wasn't a big fan in the TV show that everybody was like wrapped up in Buffy. Like, I know a lot of people that were like, Buffy, oh my god, this is the best thing on TV for like the longest time on WB. Then it spun off into 2 other things, but this one in particular for me, I thought was a lot of fun. It had an insane amount of people in the cast. I was always like, oh my god, that guy, oh my god, that guy, oh my god. There was some really funny jokes in it. Like, it wasn't super annoying. It was like Clueless meets vampires.
Oh, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
Clueless meets vampires. This was the most fun.
There's
of
far
the
worse comedies
3.
in the
There are
90s.
Far fucking worse comedies in the 90s. I actually enjoyed this film a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Me too, yeah.
Going into it, and I was actually pretty impressed.
Christina was too. She was like, oh my
For the
god.
most part, especially considering that there's a lot of different choices that they originally wanted to do for, who played Buffy in the original movie, or who he wanted to cast as Buffy, I should say,
Right.
versus who he had, and there was a lot of other casting choices that he wanted to have,
Sure.
but there was budgetary restrictions, and he couldn't have them.
Well, who was the other person?
Alyssa Milano was supposed to be
That's right.
Buffy.
Yeah. She was big hot topic right then.
She didn't really become bigger until a little bit later, though. So,
But she was on Who's the Boss?
No, she was big, but I feel like she didn't become as big as she was until a little bit later in the 90s. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. She was
I feel like she
huge in the
great,
80s,
though.
dude. She was big. Every guy that watched TV that was a kid
Everybody wanted to fuck
loved
her.
her, whether they wanted to hug her, kiss her, whatever,
Yeah, everyone wanted to stick their dick.
Everybody
in Alyssa
was like
Milano,
into
I get
Alyssa
it.
Milano.
And I feel like that maybe could have helped this film a little bit more, but I mean, it still did really well in the box office, so
Yeah.
who really cares? Like, what would admit it would have made them an extra maybe 17 million instead of 16. Like, I don't know.
Well, at the time, I think that they were like, when they were doing the TV shows, they were probably like, hey, if you can make this work on a TV show, because they weren't throwing big money at TV shows. But this is one of the first shows, I think, that started the trend
Right.
of, hey, maybe we should sink more money into these TV shows.
Absolutely.
Because TV shows were not, like, they were big, but they weren't, like, Breaking Bad big.
No. I felt like this movie was really fun. I love the series, the television series, a lot more than I like this movie.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad you watched it, because I never have. I did watch episodes, but I was never, like, fiending for it.
I haven't seen the entire series. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to front and say that I have. I haven't.
Sure. Okay.
But I've seen a 90% or so of the series.
Okay.
And I'm still going back and reiterating it for myself. So
Twin Peaks was the show when I was younger.
Well, Twin Peaks is great.
That was the show that really got me invested.
Right.
In a show. I really have never given TV shows the time of day until around, like, honestly, like, because everything was sitcoms, you know?
Right.
Situational comedies or some sort of, like, there was a news story with the same characters every episode. Well, eventually, though, Joss Whedon was able to get this story out, the original one that he planned, into a comic form. Mm-hmm. It was called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Origins.
The Origins.
Yeah.
Right.
So at least he got that part out. But then technically, if you want to consider his real body of work of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, is the TV show.
Yeah, and I love the show.
I don't know. I can't say much about it.
It's so fun. Like, please go back and start from the beginning and watch as much as you can of it. It's a fun series.
Well, and this movie, he
There's a lot of great
just
people in
completely
it.
says this is not canon.
No.
It's not part of the fucking
hates
Buffy
it.
thing. And I understand. He left.
No, I get
He
it.
left in the middle of the thing because of Donald Sutherland.
He hated him. He called him a dick.
Yeah, because, like, Donald Sutherland wanted to change all the lines.
No, he
was
did.
trying to tell the director how to direct because he's just long in the tooth.
He found him extremely difficult to be around. He
Yeah.
actually rewrote most of his dialogue in his scenes, and he actually ended up making a lot of the scenes completely incomprehensible.
Right.
In Joss Whedon's opinion. But he praised his abilities as an actor, but he called his behavior rude, and he actually referred to him as being a dick. And
it's not a secret.
I can totally understand that, but Donald Sutherland is a professional actor. And so, I mean, I get it. He agreed to take on this role, and he's
Right.
getting subpar material. Of course, he's going to want to take it and try and amp it a
Yeah,
notch. But
he wants to make it fun for him, probably.
he tried to make it, and you know what? And I'm sure he took the shit that he was given and tried to make it great.
Right.
And you can tell he's trying, but it's still bad.
I think if Donald Sutherland would have known then what he probably would know now, he wouldn't be arguing with him. You know, because he's one of the highest paid writers in fucking Hollywood.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, he wrote 2 of the biggest box office movies ever. Like, and then when people don't know what to do, they call in Joss Whedon like some fucking hero, and
Yeah,
he
like
flies in on his helicopter, some fucking Bangladesh or some
all-knowing
shit.
Spiritual fucking messiah that is Joss Whedon.
Dude, it must be the life to
Just
be
fucking
Joss
what
Whedon.
the hell?
Dude, he must get his dick sucked like every
All
day.
every day. I
He's
guess.
like, I'm brushing my
I'm-
teeth. I need a dick
I'm
sucking.
feeling like it's 24/7 for him. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't suck his dick. but I
I'm
get
just
it.
saying, like, you know. By the way, did you catch Ricky Lake in this movie?
Yes, she's the waitress.
Yeah.
I loved it.
She was kind of a
It was
smart
so
ass,
funny.
too.
Like, she comes in, and I'm just like, this fucking Ricky Lake.
And she was in Hairspray, but
She's in a lot of shit.
have you ever seen Hairspray?
Yes, I've seen
Yeah.
Hairspray.
Musical.
I'm not a musical person, but I've
Neither
seen
am
Hairspray.
I.
However, I do have a kind of a little fun side fact.
Oh.
And if you were going to mention it, sorry, but I'm
Go
going to
ahead.
mention it first. So they actually had intentionally planned for some cameo roles as vampires.
Oh.
They actually wanted to cast David Bowie, Mick Jagger, and Carrie Ewells.
Yes.
However, due to
Budgetary restraints. Yeah.
and restrictions,
Obviously.
they couldn't have them cast, but they did essentially wanted them to be vampire cameos, and which I felt like would have been fantastic, but
I don't think the movie needed it.
they didn't need it. And
No.
I'm really glad they didn't spend the extra
Jeez,
money.
like,
to
how
have
many
them involved
fucking
in it,
cameos
but,
does this
at
movie
least,
need?
Like one of them would have been really cool, but I feel
Yeah.
like Carrie Yules would have been enough.
But like, how many fucking
He's
cameos?
probably the cheapest of the three.
It was like so many aha moments. Like, aha! Oh,
Yeah, the whole time you're distracted from the story because you're going, oh, fuck. Like, what the fuck? This person's in this person's in this. Oh my god, he's a total fucking vamp queer. Oh my god, this is her first movie. Look at how big her mouth is. Like,
you talking about Hilary Swank?
Yes. Like, all over the place with these people. It's hilarious. Like, start to finish.
It's so fucked up, dude. I called you out on that shit,
No,
but
she's a great actress, but I can't focus on
She's
anything
got a horse
but
mouth.
how giant her mouth is.
Dude,
And
have you
everyone
ever
wants-
seen her eat a carrot?
Everybody wants to call Sarah Jessica Parker and say she's a horse face, and I'm just like, have you seen Hilary Swank? Because
Guys, first of all, just to clear the air of any kind of like
there's no
assumptions or whatever, like, I just say stupid shit.
We all
Like,
say stupid
I really
shit.
don't care if you fuck horses. Like whatever.
We do care if you fuck horses.
Well, I don't want you to
bestiality,
fuck
you
horses.
fucking motherfuckers.
But my point
Don't
is,
fuck
it's like,
horses. That's gross.
I don't judge people
I do.
based on their looks or whatever. Anyway, she does eat carrots really
Not about
well.
looks. I'll take that back. I do judge you if you're bestiality.
I
motherfucker. will
heard,
judge
like,
you.
one of the really interesting facts about Hilary Swank, though, is, like, you ever seen the movie Mr. Ed, or the TV show? You ever heard of it?
Uh-huh.
Do you know how they got him to talk?
Peanut butter.
No, they stuck a carrot in his ass, and
Fuck
they also
you, are you
put peanut butter
serious?
in his mouth.
I didn't read the carrot in the ass part.
Which-
I straight up just saw the peanut butter in the mouth.
Strangely enough, that's how they got Hilary Swank to talk.
Fucking
I'm gonna be fucking sued. No, I like Hilary
I
Swank.
love how
but
nonchalantly
I
we
just-
led up into that.
Dude, we are drunk and shit just happens.
Oh, I'm sober by this point.
Are you? I'm
sober.
not. I drink more of that
I'm
or the
still, like-
Jag.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go over some of our favorite parts and why we like them and stuff like that. I'll let you go.
My favorite scene is when David Arquette's vampire character comes up and he's floating outside the window.
Fuck, that's my
For
favorite.
Pike. That's my favorite scene.
Yeah, that's so
Pike's
funny.
Obviously, like, feels like he's still high as fuck or whatever, and he's just like,
Go home, Ben.
Ben.
I'm hungry.
You're floating, man. Like, it's so stupid.
You're fucking floating, man.
It's so
like,
good,
go home.
But it's so good. I
It's
love
so
them,
funny.
and I love the repertoire between the two of them.
Did
It's
you know what's
fantastic.
funny about that scene right there?
What?
He's a vampire, right?
Right.
When they show the scene of him floating outside, you see his reflection.
See his reflection.
Yeah.
I did catch on. I did notice that, and I was like,
There was another one that I did like, but there's another one too. I have so many. There's some really funny lines in this.
There are. This movie's hilarious.
When the guy from Dazed and Confused, Sasha Jensen, who plays Grueller in this movie, he's like, aha. She was like, you're my friend. Buffy says this. She's like, you were my friend, remember? And he's like, and now I'm a god. And then Luke Perry Pike comes up behind him. He's like, and now you're a coat rack. So stupid. But it's so funny. Like, guys, first of all, you got to remember that there was a show at this time that was quite popular, and there was several seasons of it. It was 90210. And this show was fucking big. Okay, this is bigger than Buffy was at the time. You know what I mean? Like, there was no Buffy. 90210 was like the hot new show, and Luke Perry was like at the prime of his career. Everybody was calling him, oh, it's fucking, oh my God, it's the new James Dean. And it's like, no, he's not James Dean, but he thought he was. So get this, Robert Downey Jr. came on the set, and he saw Luke Perry kind of being a dick. Luke Perry was like, blah, 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 blah. And then Robert Downey Jr. was like, oh, you're the new guy. Huh? Yeah, get over it, okay? And then he walked away from fucking Luke Perry. But Luke Perry was like, oh, man, that was like so fucking cool that he said that to me.
Right?
He was like, that was so cool, dickhead. Like, that's so Robert Downey Jr. So, and look where Luke Perry is now, and look where Robert Downey Jr. is now.
Night and day.
Yeah. Get over your ego is basically what he was trying to tell him.
Bitch.
Yeah, and Robert Downey Jr. got over his ego.
He made one of the biggest comebacks in all of comeback history.
Of any actor.
Of any fucking actor.
Yeah. Like, that guy was in drug hell.
Whew.
So what is another favorite scene?
The whole fucking movie's fun to me, Alex. Like, I can't...
See, this is why...
it's hard for me to pick scenes from movies that I actually thought were really
Okay,
fun.
well, then let me tell mine.
But, okay, go.
All right. So there's a part where fucking Pee Wee Herman...
Oh, shit.
Is like there's two parts.
No.
There's
Okay.
two parts. Hold on.
Okay.
This is a two-parter.
Yes.
So Pee Wee Herman loses his arm to Luke
Fuck
Perry.
you. That's what I was gonna
and
say.
then later on, he's like, "We're immortal, Buffy. We can do anything." And she's like, "Oh yeah?" Clap.
Yes. Yes.
That was
Okay.
I was like, yeah.
I stole your favorite for the first one.
Yeah,
you
I
did
get this
steal
one,
my second
motherfucker.
favorite. So I'm flicking birds to you all fucking day right now.
And
But yes, oh yeah,
and-
I'm like, genius.
One of the funny things about the Paul Rubin death is he gets stabbed in the chest with a fucking ruler, which is so appropriate to this movie. And then he proceeds to die in the slowest way possible
Yes.
out of pure improv.
Oh, he sucks the dick out of that fucking scene.
Yeah.
He absolutely does, and it's so fucking funny the whole time. He's just like, ah, so fantastic. This movie is goddamn terrible, but it is fucking hilarious.
Something I wanted to mention about Pee Wee Herman, a.k.a. Paul Rubens. Technically, Paul Rubens is his real name. This was literally right before he got caught masturbating in a porno theater in New York. If you guys don't know about this, if you know who Pee Wee Herman is, he just put out a new movie on Netflix. It was like Pee Wee's Big Holiday. But Paul Rubens was actually... This was like a big deal because everybody knew Paul Rubens as Pee Wee. And so just like child actors who play these sweet, tender roles that everyone loves and thinks they're like the most innocent fucking sunflower that the world's ever given birth to, he was in a theater and started masturbating. And he got caught. I guess it was in Studio City, actually, not New York. But it was in Studio City, California, and was charged with exposure of a sexual organ. He was released from county jail, posting a $219 bond. 3 others were arrested on a similar charges. And this isn't like an article like when he got arrested, and it's like he may face up to 60 days in jail and hold on, wait a minute, $500 fine?
Whoa!
But yeah, it says like one of his statements, one of his I guess lawyers, his lawyer did say, I don't know why he did that. But literally, guys, this is like, okay, first of all, this article that I'm reading from was published on the Daily News on July 28th of 1991. This movie came out in 92. Mm-hmm. So this was like kind of a big deal, and everybody was like watching Paul Rubens acting in this Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie, thinking of him jerking off.
Mm-hmm. I was.
I mean, who wasn't,
I
right?
was like, I'm watching you
Am I
stroke
right?
your dick right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, girl.
But anyway, I thought it was fun to point that out.
From base to tip.
I mean, honestly, guys, if you haven't seen this movie, if you're just looking for some sort of fun thing in the 90s that you want to kind of epitomize it,
If you want something that's like totally radical.
seriously.
Oh my god.
And you want something with a keen fashion sense, quote unquote.
Fashion says that's her difference
Yeah.
between all the other girls. That's why she's the chosen one.
If you want to watch something like that,
You want a
I think it's a
joke.
funny vampire movie. I don't think it's one of the worst 90s movies or by any
No.
stretch of the imagination. It's not necessarily a horror movie, but it is. It does have Rutger Hauer in it. We didn't really talk about him as Lothos. It was a
Oh,
little...
he's great.
Yeah, did you know that Joss Whedon and the director both thought he did the best in the whole movie?
No, I agree.
They thought, they were like, he was so easy to work with. He took all the lines. He didn't stray from the script. He was like
He's the most
campy
believable.
and silly as much as possible, but he was...
the most believable character out of all
What did
of
you
them.
think of him though? I mean, did you think of him like as because he's done other vampire movies and you know
You're right. He is the most believable character of all the characters in this particular film.
Okay.
To me, he feels the most authentic.
I don't know if he feels the most believable,
To me, he does.
but I love the scene where Buffy's laying on his chest and he's just like holding her, and it's like really sweet. And then like towards the end, she's like, "Ew,
Yeah.
ew, as if."
Like this seriously is Clueless, but with vampires.
It totally is,
and
yeah.
I loved it
It
because
totally
I
is.
fucking love Clueless.
I fucking love that movie, girl.
God.
Oh my god.
For real though, Clueless is fantastic. This is nowhere near as good as Clueless, but it's still pretty good. It's funny. It's hilarious. It's worth it. Give it a shot.
I was
If you haven't
surprised
seen it.
at
If
how
you
much
like
I
the
liked it
series,
again.
You know, I was actually surprised by how much I liked it. Period.
Yeah.
You know,
I've given it a lot of shit in my back of my head. Like, not
yeah,
vocally.
But it's not shit that you're gonna be like, you're gonna be nitpicky.
It's not a
about.
movie that I was like, oh, I should go see this. But after watching it again, both me, you, Christina, or
It's
Christina, you and I,
fine.
we're like, damn, this actually wasn't that bad.
It's not that bad.
And if you're looking for a movie that epitomizes the 90s,
Oh, this
is a really good choice for that.
absolutely
Like, it really does.
like anyone who wrote any fucking lines for this movie was very much in tune
yeah.
with the 90s dialogue.
And to be honest, I never noticed. I would have never known that Donald Sutherland was such a huge issue in it because I actually liked his character.
I thought he
Like,
was
I thought he was
terrible.
lovable. I thought
he was totally
lovable.
lovable as Merrick. He's great. He is very lovable, but he's very Donald Sutherland.
And that little joke they had between
Oh,
each
it's so
other.
cute. Oh, you made a joke.
Yeah, I
And it's
know.
like, oh, fuck. But at
they
the same
worked
time,
good
like, it was
together.
really cute. Like,
Yeah,
it was
they
a
worked
cute
good
moment,
together.
And I was like, no.
And the weird thing is Paul Rubens lost his left arm, which happens to be his jerking hand.
His jerk hand.
So, like,
They knew.
the coincidence here.
They knew.
All right, we gotta stop this shit. I'm out of control. You're sobering up, and you're leading me down a dark path, Brittany.
I'm leading you down a dark path.
Guys, thank you so much for showing up and tolerating our fucking horse mouth, fist jerking, Paul Rubens fucking like
Vamp queer.
vamp queer, whatever shit.
Vamp queer hour.
Thank you for putting up and tolerating it with it. I appreciate you guys hanging in there.
Pretty sure I didn't say like that much this time. So
If you
good for
don't know who Rutger Hauer is by now, you need to go out and buy a poster of him and have
the
an
very-
intimate moment in your bedroom with him.
do it at the
Stare
very
into his
fucking
eyes.
least.
Yeah.
If you are not familiar with Rutger Hauer, please watch Blade Runner
Yes.
and Hobo with a Shotgun.
And Deadlock.
And
I love that
Deadlock.
movie. Blind Fury, please check that out.
Okay. But my personal favorite, Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Love it so much. But Blade Runner, Blind Fury,
Yeah.
Deadlock,
Deadlock's
and
good.
Hobo with a Shotgun.
Crossworlds is good too.
Whatever. We can
There's a
keep
lot
going,
of
Alex.
movies.
We can go all fucking night. He has a big fucking filmography, discography with shenanigans,
profile,
profile, suck my
resume.
dick. I don't care. It's huge. But
Check him out.
check him out if you haven't already.
Books. Check him out.
Check him out. He's great. He's actually directed a couple films too. But anyways,
Yeah.
I digress. Moving on.
Guys,
He's great. Watch his shit.
thank you so
Fuck
much for
around.
stopping by this week.
Watch Horse Mouth's first movie.
If you haven't already listened to part 1 on Monday, it's our Hillary Swank episode.
Fuck
Kidding.
off.
Sorry. No, if you haven't listened to part 1, it is our full moon roulette of Seed People, and you should definitely check that out. And if you haven't already, please go to longlivethevoid.com. Plus, if you listen to us and you prefer iTunes, or if you don't even have an iTunes account, you better be signing up for that shit and subscribing, reviewing, and rating us. Because it really does go a long way to help us out, and we appreciate it.
Alex
so,
might suck your dick.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe. He might give you a
If you're
thumber.
Rutger Hauer,
If you're Rutger Hauer, he
Yeah.
will suck your dick.
totally. I'm gonna fucking go raw dog on that ball.
He has one ball?
I don't know, but I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna keep one.
Can we do Jesus?
But guys, thank you. So-
I'm gonna go raw dog on that ball. Sorry.
I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know either. But it's great.
But yeah, guys, we'll see you next Monday after this weekend. We hope you guys have a really amazing weekend. Drink one on us. If you take a video of our horror shots, I'll fucking love you forever.
I'll suck your dick.
Why is it always going to be that, Brittany?
Because
I gave that up.
I gave that up. I gave it up unless Rutger Hauer. Anyways, stay weird, monsters.
See you guys next time.